What's up everybody, EJ here, back with another video. So today I'm going to be going over some pitching tips for MLB The Show 22 at the beginning of the game cycle here. Go over some stuff for beginners and people who are more experienced at pitching who just want to improve. So background on me, I am a top MLB The Show player. I've made top 50 several times. I've made 3 MLB The Show circuit finals, including a top 16 finish one year. And yeah, I've faced every top player you can imagine. I know how to pitch to them as effectively as possible, and thus I know how to pitch to people who aren't at that level. So I think I could be of help to people who are trying to get better at pitching. Before watching this video, make sure to like, subscribe, follow my socials in the description below. It really mean a lot to me, especially on Twitch. I stream every single day on Twitch, so make sure to follow that, and I post videos every single day here on YouTube. Check out the other socials as well. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let's get to the video. All right, so first of all, we're going to go over some settings. So obviously we're going to be using Legend right now. We're going to be practicing on Legend. The pitching interface is going to be Pinpoint. Make sure to go check out my Pinpoint video. I will link it in the description below for specifically Pinpoint stuff, so I won't go over too much of that. Make sure to check that out. Today will be more about just general pitching strategy. And then yeah, pitching view, I prefer using strike zone. So the reason why I use strike zone is because when I'm hitting, I hit on strike zone. So strike zone gives me the best idea to be able to pitch the way that I don't like to hit. Essentially, I throw pitches that I think that when I'm hitting, I have a hard time hitting. So strike zone just makes the most sense, so I can visualize it in my head. I like having the pitch trail on just so that you can see the pitch break and movement, how it's gonna, behave to hitters that you're facing. So just a preference there. I have seen people use classic on, which is also good. I would not recommend using a fade just because why? It's going away. Why would you want to do that? So pitch trail on or classic on are gonna be your two. Classic essentially just like it shows the break in arrows, so it shows where the ball is originally going to be and it shows the break. So it's definitely viable. I have seen people use that, but the majority of the people that you'll see will be using pitch trail on. I'm one of those people, so I'd recommend it personally. And yeah, from there, let's get into some pitching practice. Alrighty, so we're going to use Kluber because he has the exact pitch selection that I like in this game. He has a slurve, a cutter, a sinker, a changeup, and a four-seam fastball. He's got everything you could want, so I will show you my pitching strategy specifically with these kind of pitchers. First, because those are the pitchers that you're going to want to use the most often. These are meta pitchers that you're going to like to use in order to get the most outs possible. The sinker cutter meta has been around for a couple years now, so definitely take advantage of that. And yeah, I'll just show you guys my general strategy when pitching with pitchers like Corey Kluber. Alrighty, so again, slurve, cutter, sinker, circle change, four-seam. We're going to go over the sinker first. That's going to be probably the most ubiquitous pitch that you first of all see when you're hitting, and also probably the most common pitch you'll use when pitching with the current meta that this game is in. So sinkers, righty. Generally I like to place them middle in. Just the time window on these pitches are so difficult to square up, and if you do square it up, it's difficult to keep fair. So definitely that is going to be something that you're going to want to practice for sure. Midland Sinkers are going to be the toughest as well to get your PCI to, because you're tempted to jam either up or jam it down. And so if you get it in sort of that middle range right here, then it's difficult to actually square up because you're not jamming it to a specific corner. And that's going to be a big thing when you're pitching, is trying not to necessarily go right on the corners all the time, because if you constantly go right to the corners, it can be easy for someone to get the PCI right on it, because all they have to do is just jam their thumbstick right down to the pitch or right up to the pitch, and they can easily square it up without that much effort of actually being precise with their PCI. So definitely getting it in that sort of range that isn't quite on the corner, but is like just enough there that it isn't hanging over the middle, so that someone can swing on top of it or swing under it, as is the case with Midland Sinkers. Then that would be your ideal preference when throwing that pitch. And from there we get into kind of pitch tunneling. So from that sinker inside, so we'll throw a sinker inside here just to demonstrate where this pitch is. So from this pitch, now we can use something like, say, a slurve. So the slurve starts here like a sinker does, but this time breaks down here. So we can tunnel that off the sinker. And pitch tunneling is just essentially starting, if you didn't know, starting pitches in the same location at first and then having them break in different directions. So then again, from there, from the slurve, then you can go back to the sinker, and now it's going to start in the same place that the previous slurve did, but this time it's going to break inside, and it can be difficult for someone online to hit. From there, let's talk about cutter. So the cutter is going to be another very common pitch you're going to be throwing. Your cutter should be normally away from a righty. Try to get them to be out in front. or conversely try to get them to be late for a foul ball. But this pitch coming off a sinker is very difficult because it moves the exact opposite way that a sinker does, and the time window is also slower on it because it's slightly slower than a sinker. The sinker, the time window is much faster. You have to really gear up for it, whereas cutters, they're difficult to actually go with because of the different time window, the slower pitch speed. So you can throw this pitch especially off the sinker. So I can show tunneling again from the cutter. So we see the cutter that started sort of in this area. So now we can throw a sinker and we can tunnel that sinker. So it's starting in a similar area, but this time it's breaking inside. And this to an online opponent is going to be very difficult to hit because it's, again, it's hard to see because it's breaking the exact opposite direction despite starting in the same place. So again, we can throw a sinker there, and now we can use the cutter as a tunnel pitch off the sinker. We can get the cutter middle away here, and it's gonna be difficult for someone to hit. So yeah, you're really gonna want to be utilizing the sinker and the cutter when pitching in this game because they do feed off each other so well, and the majority of pitchers that you're gonna want to use in MLB The Show are gonna have a sinker and cutter, so you can easily just sort of throw them off each other and get people off balance, off time, and get their PCI well off the ball. Now we got the breaking ball. So Kluber has a slurve. So similar to a cutter, righty, you're going to want to, again, aim this pitch usually away from a right-hand hitter. Try to get them to be early on it, potentially get some swings and misses on it. So as you can see, we're just like, pounding the CPU hitter away. Sometimes you can get away with throwing inside. So sometimes I do like to throw slurs up and in, but you have to be more careful this year because they made a change this year that made it so that the par on pitches that are up is much larger than pitches that are down. So that actually changed the meta from a high sinker to potentially middle in sinker, because you can see the par difference. When I put a sinker up here, look how large the par is. If I put a sinker down here, look how small it is. It's a massive difference of like about probably half the size. So a sinker down here is going to be much more effective than a sinker up here because you're going to be able to command it better. Because watch this, you throw a sinker here, look how much it leads to the right, and someone could easily get the PCI on it when they otherwise wouldn't be able to in previous years. So the same goes obviously with a slurve. So a slurve up here is going to have a larger par than a slurve down here or a slurve down here. So slurve up here is just getting to dangerous territory because it can miss in so many places. It can miss to the left, it can miss to the right, it can miss down. That one missed to the left and was a ball. That's just not going to be useful for me. But if you get a slurve down here where the par is much smaller, you'll see that the command on this pitch is going to be a lot better. We get it almost right on the corner. So that is, yeah, generally what your plan is going to be with slurves, trying to get them away. You can also, like I said, tunnel them. So a slurve that starts in the middle, you can now throw a sinker, maybe middle down that's breaking down instead of to the side, and that can get people off balance as well. Now we're going to get to changeups. So changeups are interesting. I don't like throwing changeups in the strike zone usually because changeups in the strike zone tend to get hit because they tend to be difficult to command. MLB The Show has just never really gotten changeups right in the sense of having them not be pitches that completely hang. Like as you can see with this pitch, again, it's dangerous. If that were an online opponent, that ball leaked up, my opponent could easily be able to get a good piece of it. So we're going to try to get a changeup down here. Didn't get a good release, but regardless of how much it leads to the side, it just becomes so hittable because the speed is so slow on it, and it has such like a sort of floating movement that makes it easy for a hitter to square up. And you can see all these pitches are just leaking up, which I don't want. So when you're throwing a changeup in this game, you're going to want to bury it. You want to make sure that the top of your par is below the strike zone, so that worst case happens, the changeup is still below the zone, even though it is still leaking up, and you might be able to get some swings and misses from people that are chasing the pitches that are in the dirt, particularly if they're not overly skilled opponents. You can get people to chase on changeups that are in the dirt for easy swings and misses, but you have to make sure that the par is not up, because if I say get the par up here, it has a 50-50 chance of leaking into the zone just like that, which you don't want. So make sure to really bury them, make sure to really get it so that the par is not touching the bottom of the zone. You can see right here, we bury it in dirt, and an opponent can very well swing at it. So that's going to be most of the pitchers going to be throwing righty-righty. We're going to change the pitcher to more of a fastball-oriented pitcher rather than a sinker-oriented pitcher. So we're going to go to someone like Drew Rasmussen. So Drew Rasmussen throws 97. We're going to pretend like he is outlier. He does not have outlier. Outlier is going to be very important because it allows you to have a smaller timing window when you do throw hard fastballs. Rasmussen doesn't have that, but we're going to picture Rasmussen like he has outlier for the sake of this video. So with outlier guys, a lot of them, kind of like Jacob deGrom, usually have four-seamer, slider, a curveball, and a changeup. So with outlier pitchers, you don't want to always throw them up here, but obviously throwing them up and in are going to be a good bet because people do tend to have a hard time squaring those pitches up because it's coming in so hard. But from there, your biggest weapons, honestly, with a pitcher with outlier are going to be your secondary pitches. So you get a changeup here, and it's at such a drastically different speed than the outliers that you can get an opponent flailing. It was what was so useful with Nolan Ryan last year, is because he threw so hard and you'd be able to throw his that one hung. That's, yeah, changes and strikes are dangerous. But that was the thing with Nolan Ryan last year, is that you could throw his changeup, and he had a sinker that was slower than his fastball, and you'd be able to throw it so that the timing window on those two pitches were totally different, and it was very difficult for opponents to be able to simultaneously be prepared for the fastball and also try to hit the changeup. So again, outlier, you're really going to want to pound righties inside with this, because it is going to be difficult to square up because of the time window. You can sometimes work with the four-seamer. If someone's late inside, I do like to go outside sometimes with the pitch, because usually if you're late inside, it's going to be difficult to make the adjustment to be able to hit the outside pitch, or you may over-adjust, and therefore be early on the pitches. So you can definitely take advantage of that, and you can especially try to throw these change-ups middle away just like that. That one hung a little bit, but just to get people off balance. So really trying to use your outlier fastball to be able to throw different pitches, to have opponents flailing at those pitches, because they are difficult to be able to time up and wait for them while also trying to be ready for the outlier fastball. So that's going to do it with righty-righty matchups. We're going to show a righty-lefty matchup now. We're going to get a left-handed hitter. The Jays do not have many left-handed hitters. We're going to get Kevin Biggio. We're going to bring back Corey Kluber. So it's going to be sort of similar. So sinkers, you can still throw the middle in. These are dangerous pitches. I would not suggest throwing sinkers middle in as often as you would righty-righty. I actually like to attack lefties with sinkers middle away, so in the same location technically as the pitches to the right-handed batters. So making sure to get that pitch up there, and from there again, just tunneling the cutter inside from those sinkers. Cutters mid-in are going to be your biggest weapon against left-handed hitters, because it's very difficult to be able to lay off those pitches while also looking for a sinker. So trying to get those cutters mid-in are going to be an excellent weapon for you. You can also try them down and in, just like this pitch, because again, difficult to lay off, especially if you're looking for maybe a potential dotted pitch. Like you can tunnel that pitch, and then now this time I can throw a sinker, and I can dot the sinker right here. And so many people are going to take this pitch looking, because they're so scared of the cutter, that you can get away with that pitch and get free strikeouts out of it. I also do like throwing cutters up here, because they're very, very difficult to keep fair. It's hard. You can't really get too many swings and misses on these pitches, but it's just so difficult to square up because it looks so inviting. It's upstairs, but it's really hard to keep fair because of the way the time window works in this game. So getting those cutters up and in is also a good idea. And then from there, really advise trying not to throw too many changeups again against left-handed batters. If you're gonna throw it, you have to make sure it's got to be on the corner, man. You have to make sure you dot those pitchers on the corner. It's okay if they're inside, but just really making sure they don't leak over the plate, or else it is easy to hit. And from there, again, just worrying about burying them in a dirt, just like to righties. And then as for fastballs, to pretend Kluber's outlier for a second, I do like to throw up and in with outlier four-seam fastballs. Because again, just a sort of time window issue, but they're not going to be as effective, because again, the time window is going to be different with left-handed hitters than with a right-handed hitter facing a right-handed pitcher. So yeah, I do like to pound those fastballs inside. Sometimes what I'll do actually, and this is what I did with Nolan Ryan a lot last year, was I'd actually throw his fastballs off the plate inside, because someone would be so amped up that they would actually swing at those pitches. They're able to get a lot of swings and misses from people that are early and not having their PCI on the fastballs inside off the plate. All right, so now we're going to work with left-handed pitchers. So we are going to pitch here with Ryan Yarbrough just as an example, because again, he has sinker cutter, which is perfect for me. We're going to first of all work lefty-lefty. So here, going to be pretty self-explanatory. You're going to really want to get the sinkers, again, the middle in here, similar to righty-righty matchups. Really trying to get arm side sinkers for both sides, definitely. Right-handed pitchers and left-handed pitchers. Your arm side sinkers are going to be the most effective, more effective than throwing a glove side sinker, because the movement is much greater on a glove side, or on an arm side sinker, excuse me, than on a glove side sinker. So making sure you really pound those sinkers in. Sinkers away here, you can see definitely some less movement. Also make sure not to get the sinkers too high, because then the par will also be bigger. And then from there, just the same sort of similar thing of tunneling, again, cutters. So we start the sinkers inside, then we tunnel a cutter away here, and get a lot of people to be early or just taking a pitch because they're confused at the new pitch that is coming in that spot. Change ups, again, you're not really going to want to be throwing too many of these. Sometimes I like to get them in the strike zone away, but I really usually don't like to, because they do like to hang if I'm going to throw a changeup. Just like for the other pitchers, really going to focus on trying to bury it, or else he carries a large risk of having it hang into the strike zone and being something easy to hit. And then finally, lefty-lefty, we are going to show a four-seamer sort of thing with it. So we're gonna have Jeffrey Springs, so we're gonna pretend Springs is outlier. Usually having left-handers without outliers is a bad idea because the velocity of regular four-seam fastballs is not amazing, and it can be easy to hit for left-handed hitter. They can wait on the pitch, or they can just turn on the pitch instead of really, you know, it's easier to have approaches to be able to hit pitches like the slider low and away if you're having a guy without outlier, as you can see there with the home run from the CPU. So yeah, really going to focus on having, if you're going to have a left-handed pitcher with a four-seam fastball, you definitely want someone like Chapman. I know Chapman does have outlier this year, but just someone who throws very hard like that, because then if you don't, the other pitches become easier to hit. When you have someone who throws really hard, it becomes harder to hit the other pitches because you're gearing up more towards the big fastball. So yeah, that's going to be general lefty-lefty guidance. Sinkers in on the arm side, cutters away, sliders away, and then if you're throwing an outlier, throwing it inside, but usually trying not to have too many pitchers that have a four-seam fastball that doesn't have outlier or doesn't at least throw very hard, because then it becomes easier to hit the other pitches. And then finally, we're going to go over lefty-righty. This can be sometimes the toughest to pitch with, so we're going to face Matt Chapman here. So again, with outlier guy, this time you're actually going to want to throw gloves a little bit more with outlier. A lot of people can't turn around these pitches. You can also then take advantage of that by then throwing, say, a changeup after it and getting someone way out in front and to be able to chase it, or conversely, not really conversely, but just like in a similar vein, to be able to be super early on it. From there as well, you're with a sinker cutter pitcher. So we're going to put in Brooks Raley, who has a sinker and a cutter. So sinkers again are going to be arm side. Usually you can sometimes throw a sinker inside to dot someone. If you are going to throw a sinker inside to dot someone, make sure as well to tunnel the cutter also going inside, because you can throw that sinker there, the cutter comes off the sinker, and the cutter can go way inside here and can get a lot of people in this game, especially online, to be able to chase those pitches. Change-ups, once again, you're going to really want to bury them, and then cutters, really making sure you jam these guys inside, because they're very difficult to take when you throw a cutter inside, because people will often be looking for sinkers and selling out to it. That's really it, man. Just general pitching advice, making sure to keep your fastballs and sinkers arm side as much as possible, with some exceptions if you're trying to catch someone looking, making sure to utilize tunneling, making sure to utilize using breaking balls away from batters to get them to be early, and change-ups below the zone, making sure they don't leak into the zone, because then they become hittable. And that's going to be your main tips you're going to want to take into online from there. It's just about general seeing the opponent's feedback and everything, pitching based off that. If someone's late consistently, continue to throw pitches that make them late or potentially mix it up, to be able to just put something else in their head. Just general pitching strategy when you're in a game, thinking along with the opponent, seeing what they're doing. And then my general tips today should help you have a general basis of how to pitch in MLB The Show 22. And yeah, guys, if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like, subscribe, follow my socials in the description below. And yeah, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day.